Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Sri Ramakrishna told the story of the washerman and the diamond that he found. It's a well-known story, but it's really deep and it's directly relevant to what we are doing now. So this washerman, an Indian dhobi means a washerman. For those of you who have not seen an Indian dhobi in action, I have as a kid. So he would come around and collect your dirty laundry and take it sometimes near a stream, sometimes near a river bed, and wash it. He would beat it mercilessly on a rock and scrub it. Anyhow, he'd get it clean. Often they use a stone to scrub the clothes. And this washerman, poor washerman, he found a diamond, only he didn't know it was a diamond. He thought it was a peculiar stone. And he used it, as he did with all other stones, to scrub dirty laundry. And thus his days went by in poverty. And scrub. Until one day he thought, to his credit, it must be said, this is a strange stone. I've never seen its like. Let me ask my friend, the vegetable seller, what it is. He knows more than me. So he goes to the vegetable seller, who was like him, an illiterate man, and asked him, what do you think this is? And he said, that's certainly a strange stone, my friend. It's attractive, it's shiny. I'll give you 10 rupees for it, 10 rupees. And luckily, the washerman didn't sell it to him and said, let me hold on to it a little more. And the story goes on. He keeps on asking this person and that person about the diamond, this peculiar stone. Finally, the story, it culminates in him going to a diamond merchant and showing him the stone. What do you think this is? He says, this is the biggest diamond that I have seen in my life. Where did you find it? This is amazing. And then the washerman sells the diamond to him for millions of rupees, and all his poverty is at an end. Whatever he needed in life, he gets. So that's the story. Now notice that he had the diamond all along. He had it all along. And like that, what we are looking for, this ultimate reality, our nature as existence, consciousness, bliss, we already have it, like he already has the diamond. Not only did he have the diamond, he used it. He was using it daily. He was scrubbing clothes with it. And we are using it too. We are using it daily. We use it to see, hear, smell, taste, touch. One of the Upanishads, famous Upanishads, Kena Upanishad, starts with this question. Kena, by what? Impelled by what? Illumined by what? Does our mind think? Illumined by what? Impelled by what? Do these eyes see and the ears hear and the tongue speak and by which we breathe? What is it that is giving us the experiences? You see, he's not asking us about how the eyes are seeing, about the visual mechanism or the auditory mechanism. That's not the question. This experience we are having of seeing, this experience we are all having right now of hearing, and indeed thinking, all of these experiences, in fact, all our life, all our first-person experiences, what we call life. What is the one thing? Notice it is one thing. So, seeing is very different from hearing, is very different from smelling or tasting or touching or thinking. They're all very different things. Different biological, physiological mechanisms involved. And yet the Upanishad asks, what's the one common thing and the vital thing, central thing, which enables us to have all these experiences, which is our life, which we call life. Just like the washerman was using the diamond for scrubbing dirty clothes, we are using it, what we already have. The ultimate reality, our real nature, Atman, Brahman, whatever you call it. We are using it all the time. It constitutes our life. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. Right now we are using it. From the sense of personal identity to thoughts and feelings and ideas to the sensory experiences, all the entire spectrum of what we call life. We are using it. We are using it to enjoy ourselves, to suffer, to love, and to fight wars and hate each other. All of this is made possible by that. And yet, we do not know, by far, we do not know truly what it is that we have. Just like that washerman did not know what the diamond was. And indeed, when he knows what the diamond is, and then he sells it, he cashes it in, and all his needs, his poverty is at an end forever. What Vedanta does, is to introduce us to the diamond. For the first time, we'll notice, we'll see the diamond. And we do it today, now. And then show us the value of the diamond. And then teach us to cash it in, so that all our poverty is at an end forever. So that's what Vedanta does. Just like the diamond was not hidden actually from the washerman. Similarly, the diamond of our real nature is actually not hidden from us. It's the open secret. It's there. In a certain sense, it's a secret. In what sense? What was it really that prevented the washerman from, using the diamond to remove all his suffering? It's because he didn't know what it really was. He thought it was an ordinary rock. And we also do not know. We do not know what we have, with what we are, or more precisely, what we are. And not knowing what we are, we have formed an idea about ourselves. What am I? An ordinary rock. I'm not a diamond. I'm just a regular guy. I'm plain old me. That's who I am. So Vedanta has to correct this. This is what Vedanta does. It is a journey from ignorance about ourselves to knowledge about ourselves. From not knowing about ourselves to knowing about ourselves to realizing the most important fact of our lives. And after realization, also cashing it in. One can get this full realization, and yet there is something more to be done. Sri Ramakrishna says there are those who have just read about milk, and there are those who have seen milk, and then there are those who have drunk that milk and become nourished, and so we have heard about milk now. We have heard about it, the diamond, our real nature. Now is the time to see it for ourselves, and then over time to nourish ourselves from what we find. All right. So in this session, seeing the diamond and recognizing it. Advaita Vedanta, there is a phrase they use in the Himalayas, what Advaita Vedanta does for us. Praptasya prapti nivrittasya nivritti. What you already have, Advaita Vedanta gives it to you. What you never had, Advaita Vedanta removes that. It's a very peculiar kind of vacuum cleaner. It removes the dirt that never was. Yeah. And in the old Wild West, there's a story I read about. It's an old apocryphal story, of course, but telling. They used to have what's called a snake oil salesman. So these people would come as a cure-all. They would say this, snake oil medicine, which will cure all your diseases. So this guy was arrested and hauled by the sheriff and hauled before the magistrate on charges of providing real cures for imaginary diseases and imaginary cures for real diseases. So is Vedanta like that? No, not really. The problem is we do not know what we have, and if we knew what we have, it would have solved our problems long ago. Swami Vivekananda, with a touch of pathos in this country, when he came here more than 100 years ago, he would speak to his American devotees. Sometimes he would say, If only you knew what you were or who you were. If only you knew. All right. So there are different methods in Vedanta to introduce us to the diamond. One of these methods is simple, direct, powerful, one of my favorites. It's called the method of discernment of seer and seen. The method of the discernment of the seer and the seen. We'll go through that method, and when I explain it, and then we'll do a little exercise and then Q&A. That's the plan now. When I explain it, these 3 questions should be in our minds. It's very simple, but you have to hold on to that. What did he say? So whenever I go through it, you say, what did he say? Number 1. Number 2, do I get what he said? And if I feel I haven't got it, and then you can ask questions or think about it again or discuss it with others. You can ask me. So it's the second part of it. The third part of it is, third question we should have vibrating in our minds is this real? Is this a fact? Or is this some kind of speculation or theory? By real or fact, I mean right here, right now. Because Advaita Vedanta makes one of these dramatic claims is, all the claims of Advaita Vedanta are supposed to be true right now. You are Brahman, limitless existence, consciousness, bliss, right now. We should be able to say, yes. So notice, at each stage, there'll be 4 stages to this. At each stage, ask yourself, what did he say? Do I get it? And third, is it a fact? Is it real right now? Or is it something for future? I'll realize this eventually. No. The claim is it's real right now. So if I say I will realize it later, then there's some problem. So it should be real for me right now. In that case also, notice at what point, it's very interesting, at what point does it stop being real for us? 4 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. At what point does it stop being real for us? Typically, most people will stop at a certain point and say, at this point, it seems theoretical, speculative, subtle. I don't get it yet. We should, but we don't. That's interesting. It's worth bearing down on that point, settling down, noticing what is it that's not real right now. None of it is theoretical. What I'm going to say from the beginning till the end. From the beginning till the end, if you can say, it's real, it's true, it's a fact right now, congratulations, you're enlightened. If you don't, then it's worth noticing at what point we say that this doesn't seem real, and why not? So this is, it's found in different places in Vedantic literature. I typically pick it up from a small manual called Drig Drishya Viveka. Drig means the seer, Drishya means the seen, Viveka means discernment, separation. So the first verse, which I will do now, we will do together. I'll tell you the Sanskrit and repeat the English, and then we will go through the 4 stages of this inquiry. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik, tadrishyam driktu manasam, drishyadhivrittaya sakshi, drigeva natu drishyate. What does it mean? Stage 1, the forms are seen, the eyes are the seer. Stage 2, the eyes are seen, the mind is the seer. Stage 3, the mind is seen and the witness is the seer. Stage 4, the witness is never seen. That's it. That's it. That's our introduction to the diamond. Let's go through this. What's going to happen now? The seer and the seen, this is the operating principle. The seer and the seen are always different. In our common sense also, in our day-to-day life, I am seeing this cloth. And the cloth is something physically different from the eyes. Common sense. Our regular experience. The eyes can always see something that is at a distance from the eyes. The only thing, in fact, the eyes cannot see are the eyes themselves. You say, Swami, have you ever looked in a mirror? I have. And in a mirror, you can't see the eyes. You can see a reflection of your eyes. Have you ever taken a selfie? Yes, but that's a picture of my eyes. not seeing my eyes directly. The way the eyes see this, the eyes cannot see themselves like that directly. They cannot. It only has to be a thing. The eyes cannot see themselves. They can see anything that is different from the eyes. So the seer and the seen are different. Expanding this a little more, the knower and the known are different, are distinct. The subject and the object are distinct. And this grammatically, philosophically, this is an established principle. A thing cannot act on itself. A knife can't cut itself. That's why in the morning we're talking about a self-luminosity. Pure consciousness, self-luminosity. That's why it's a very subtle concept. It is not self-illumining. That would not be permissible in philosophy. So a subject illumines an object. Subject and object are different. The seer and the seen are different. Notice, the eyes are the seer. In a very naive way, you might say that, no, eyes are not the seer. I am the seer, Swami. Yes, that's true. You're right. But let's start in, baby steps. Baby steps. Like any good teacher, Vedanta does this, from the near to the far, from the known to the unknown, from what is to what shall be. Except in the case of Vedanta, it's the opposite. From the near to the nearest, or near, from the known to the more than known. From what is to what shall be, from what is what always is to. So, in step by step, like a good teacher. So you start with the most obvious, the most mundane, ubiquitous, quotidian fact. This is very obvious. Nobody thinks twice about it. So the eyes are the seer in a very naive way, and objects are seen. Eyes, note that eyes are different from the objects. One. The eyes being the same eyes, the objects keep changing. You see, when you were just little while ago, we were seeing the Pacific and the trees, the beautiful campus. Now we are in this beautiful hall, in this space. The objects keep changing. Same eyes see different objects. The scene keeps changing. The seer remains the same. And the seen are many. Just look around here. So many colors, so many shapes. And yet the same eyes see there's so many colors and shapes. So 3 points of interest. The seer and the seen are different. Number 1, the seer is the same and the seen keep changing. And number 3, the seer is the same, is one, and the seen are many. Now, ask yourself what was just said. Did I hear that? Yes. Do I get it? Yeah, go on. Is it real? Yes, it's real. It's obviously real. It's just a very overly simplistic description of what's going on when I'm seeing things. True. And expand it further. Hearing things, smelling things, tasting, touching. Stage 2. Let's move ahead. Stage 2. Draw the attention from the seen to the eyes themselves, the seeing eyes. Now the attention is on the eyes. The eyes themselves become the seen, quote unquote seen. You're not actually seeing it. We know the eyes. We are aware of the eyes. We consider the eyes. So the eyes themselves are the seen. It might help to blink the eyes and note that, yes, that's what we're talking about. Attending to the eyes themselves. Now the eyes are the seen or known, and the mind is the knower. The mind, whatever the mind is, but we feel it. The mind is there. So the mind is the knower, which knows my eyes are open, my eyes are closed, my eyes can see well or they cannot see well, and so on. Or there's something in my eyes. I am aware of the eyes. So the eyes are the seen, the mind is the seer. What happened to the world outside? It's still the seen. The world is the seen, but the eyes are also now the seen, and the mind is the seer. Who's the seer of the world? Well, the mind is the seer of the world through the eyes, and the mind is the seer of the eyes directly. Again, note, the seer and the seen are different. The mind is different from the eyes. In what sense? Well, in every sense. The mind, whatever it is, nebulous, first-person experience inside, and the eyes are this physical organ, let us say, which is, everybody can see this except me. So this is the seen, and the mind is the seer. They're different. Second, the mind by itself cognizes various sense organs, the eyes, the ears, the skin, the tongue, the touch, and all of that. Same mind. And the mind remaining the mind, the condition of the eyes and the other sense organs are continuously changing. The seeing are changing. I could see very well earlier. Now I need glasses and so on. And the same mind. You might say the mind is changing even faster. That's true. But the mind is changing into more mind. Thoughts into thoughts into thoughts. Whereas the eyes are changing in certain ways. The ears, the body is all changing in different ways. So again, once again, the seer and the seen are different, number one. The seer is one, the seen are many. And the seer is unchanging, the seen are changing. 3 observations still hold true. Let me ask you, did you hear what I said? Do we get it, what is being said? Yes. Is it a fact? And so, yeah, we'll grant you that, Swami. Trained philosophers here might debate it, but all right, in a general sense, we'll grant you that. All right, go on. Next, stage 3. So far, nothing very interesting. We've just been stating the obvious. It's good. Notice what's being done is our attention is being drawn to the world first, step 1. Step 2, to the instruments with which we are experiencing the world, the eyes, the ears, and so on. Now we are at that stage 2. Stage 3 is where it gets interesting. We said the mind is the seer. Now consider the mind. Thoughts, memories, desires, perceptions, judgments, a mental chatter going on. That's the mind. For all of us, we all have minds. How do you know? Well, that's a big question actually. There's a whole section in the philosophy of mind called Other Minds. Books and books are written about it because we really don't know. But anyway, let's grant that none of us are zombies. We all have minds. So the mind is the seen now. How so? We are aware of the mind. When I'm unhappy, I'm aware that I'm unhappy. When I remember something, it's a distinct experience of remembering something. When I try to remember and just can't get it, it's on the tip of my tongue. We all know that feeling. So all the processes of the mind are experienced, especially when we pay attention. Sometimes when not paying attention, it's going on like a background hum, but it's there. And when we paying attention to the experiences of the mind is what's called introspection. So we are aware of the contents of the mind, what's going on. Therefore, if we are aware of the contents of the mind becomes the known, the seen. And if the seer and the seen are different, then there is a witness of the mind. I am that which is experiencing the contents of my mind. And I, the witness of the contents of my mind, must be different from the contents of my mind. Why? Because the seer and the seen are different. It's a very subtle point, worth investigating. But anyway, so the seer and the seen are different. I am the witness of the contents of my mind. Let's just give it a name, witness. The word used is sakshi. Drishyadhivrittaya, the movements of the minds are seen. And the seer is called the witness. Just call it the witness. Who's that witness? I am. Why? Because notice, always when we are doing the seer and the seen thing, always we take the side of the seen, of the seer. Here's the world that is seen. And the eyes are seeing. Where are you? Are you there or here? I'm here. And here are the eyes which are seen, and the mind is there, somewhere. Where are you? Are you here in the eyes or in the mind? I am in the mind. I am always the seer, never the seen. So when I am noticing the contents of my mind, I am the seer of the mind. All sorts of things are going on in the mind. I'm the seer of the mind. Sometimes nothing is going on in the mind, blank. What are you thinking of? Nothing. But that's also an experience. And there's a seer of the blankness of the mind too. And I, the seer of the mind, must be distinct from the mind. Whatever I am, this witness, I must be distinct from the mind because the seer and the seen are different. And notice, the mind is full of many, many thoughts, many ideas, many sensations, many memories. And I am the same one who experiences all these happy and unhappy thoughts, these desires and the peace and the restlessness. All of this is experienced by me, the witness. So the witness remaining the same, the mind keeps changing, the scene keeps changing, the seer remains the same. The witness is one, and the mind is many. So the seer and the scene are different. The seer is one, the scene are many, the seer is unchanging, and the scene are continuously changing. This is what we have. Again, at this point, we should ask ourselves, did I hear what he said? Okay. Do I get it? Yeah, I get what you are saying, Swami, but there's a but usually comes at this point. That's the third part of it. Is it real? And at this place, a lot of people, especially those who are following carefully, would hesitate. I'm not really sure that it's real for me right now. Maybe I'll realize it one day after lots of practice. Advaita Vedanta insists it's real for you right now. It's just a plain fact like eyes are seeing the world, just like that. You are the witness experiencing the contents of the mind. That the contents of the mind are experienced, there's no doubt. And so there is a witness of the mind. That's what is claimed. Already we can begin to see the effects of this. The effects of this. We begin to cash it in. One way of cashing in, remember, selling the diamond and removing all poverty forever, like the washerman. Let's sell this diamond we have got and remove our poverty. How does it work? How do you apply it? How do you get the benefit from all of this? What good does it do? Lots of good. In fact, if you think about it, one monk put it this way. How do you apply Vedanta? He says, keep things where they belong, oh monk. महात्मा जी जो चीज जहां का है उसको वहीं रहने दीजिए. Keep things where they belong. If things belong in the body, keep them in the body. I'm overweight. Is the witness overweight or is the body overweight? The body is overweight. So keep the overweight in the body. We're not denying it, but it's a problem with the body. I don't feel so good. I feel sick or tired. That's the prana, the life forces. And you are aware of it. If you're aware of it, you are not it. You are the witness of that. So keep it in the prana. Oh, I'm so depressed. It's this heavy, dull feeling. I don't like anything. I don't like anything. You're aware of the depression. If you're aware of the depression, then the depression is the scene. You are the seer. And the seer and the scene must be different. And therefore, the depression is not in you. In fact, the depression is by definition in the mind. So if it is in the mind, you're not depressed. Just think of what they call the chutzpah of Vedanta. You're not depressed. Why not? Because you feel depressed. That's why you're not depressed. That sounds dreadfully wrong. And yes, if I feel depressed, it's an experience. It's the scene. I am the seer, and the seer and the scene are different. This man goes to the Swami and says, oh, I have all these problems and sorrows. And the Swami comes down thunderously, I am not interested in your problems. How cruel, how unempathetic. And the Swami says, I am not interested in your problems. I'm interested in you. You see, that opens up a gap between me and my problems. And it must be admitted, my problems are something that keep changing. My problems, but I am the same one who has those problems. I had some problems when I was a kid, and some problems when I was a teenager, but some problems when I'm in the middle age, and some problems when I'm in the old age. By the way, teenager, middle age, old age, all in the body. I am the same one. In that case, my problems kept changing. I am the same one. And I have a whole set of complaints, grumbling. If I have a whole set of complaints, who has it? I, the same one. So problems are many. The one experiencing the problems is one. Problems keep changing. The one experiencing the changing problems is unchanging. And the problems and the experiencer of the problems are different. The seer and the seen are different. It's worth thinking about. At the very least, it opens up a psychological space between ourselves and our physical and mental problems. If you are not the physical body because you are the seer of the body, seer and seen are different. In that case, the properties, the characteristics, the problems of the body are in the body. We are not denying it, but not in you. It makes no sense to say, I, the witness consciousness, am overweight. Can't be. It makes no sense to say, I, the witness consciousness, am diabetic. Can't be. And similarly, it makes no sense to say, I, the witness consciousness, am depressed or angry or miserable. Can't be. That's the mind. So I am the witness of the mind, of the body, and of the world. The seer is the witness. Whatever it is, two things are sure. It is. And it's aware because it's experiencing. So it's aware. Its consciousness is on that side. And it's one. And it's unchanging. Now, the next fourth stage is, now we want to know the witness. Oh, such a wonderful witness is there, such a wonderful sakshi. How do I know that? How do I make make it my own? You can't. I cannot, but you promised. Yes, and it's a wonderful thing that we cannot, because if we are able to know the witness, it would become the seen. And then who would be the seer of the witness? You would require another witness to witness the witnessed. And to know that witness, you would require a third witness, and so on. This is called the problem of regressus ad infinitum, or in Sanskrit, anavastha dosha. Without ground, the fallacy of having no ground, no final resting place. So the witness, the seer, is never an object. It is always you, and you are not an object. Everything else is an object to you, in the sense that everything appears in your awareness, appears in the seer's awareness. In fact, instead of saying even seer's awareness, let us say the seer which is awareness, seer which is consciousness. The philosopher Arindam Chakravarti put it very nicely. What's an object? An object is anything that objects to my consciousness. So think of your consciousness as a wide field spreading out there, and then it runs up against. Here are the speakers, and here are the people, and here are the pillars. My visual consciousness runs up against that. My auditory consciousness runs up against sounds and noise. And so objects are what object to your consciousness. The seen, they appear in you, the seer. Drigeva natu drishyate. I never become an object. I am ever the subject. The one subject, objects are many. The unchanging subject, objects are continuously changing. And the seer and the seen are distinct. Okay, we have time for Q&A now. Now, are you with me? At some point, I might have left you behind saying that, all right, up to this, I'm with you. The rest of it sounds very theoretical. Good, that's all right. That's fine. We can work at it. We can work with that. Now, to sum up everything, let me just say, whatever I said, I'm going to pull the rug out from under your feet. Whatever I said, don't take it seriously. None of this is true. Advaita Vedanta, after saying this, says it's not true. This distinction we made between the subject and the object, seer and the seen, there's no such distinction. It does not stand. It is a technique for drawing attention to ourselves as awareness. Why do you say it does not stand? See, here's a subtle point. The point is this. It is true. The seer is different from the seen. The witness is different from that which is witnessed. The drashta is different from the drishya. It all means the same thing. However, the other way around, one must ask this question. That which is witnessed, the object, is it different? Is it a separate, independently existing entity apart from the seer? Or do they arise together? This is what will make, finally, a Madhyamaka Buddhist who would be nodding, who would be shaking his head quite disapprovingly till now, At this point, let's say, now you got it. No. So if you make the two distinct entities, the seer and the seen are distinctly different and independent entities, somehow standing separately and coming into contact with each other, that's Sankhya. A material, independent material universe and consciousness interacting with each other. Advaita actually says that's not true. Advaita says that which we experience as the seen is an arising in the seer, not distinct from the seer. I think I'm losing people, but anyway, let me just say this and stop. So the final conclusion in Advaita Vedanta in the method of the seer and the seen would be, yes, first of all, see yourself as the seer and distinct from the seen, and then notice that the seen are all arising in you as nothing but you, like a dream, for example. In a dream, you are different. You are really different from whatever you experience because you wake up and all of them are gone. But what we experience in the dream are not different from us, the dreamer. They don't exist without us. Therefore, only the door to non-duality is open. Otherwise, this is a very dualistic way of looking at it. The only reason we did this is to discover the diamond. This awareness which we are, it doesn't grow. Let me just make these remarks. It doesn't grow old. It doesn't grow sick. Witness consciousness. It doesn't die. All of this, you can what thinking about, debating and trying to understand, doesn't die. It doesn't become unhappy. It doesn't have any desires. It's ever fulfilled. It's not waiting for anything to happen. Doesn't even need enlightenment and freedom. It's never restless. It doesn't need spiritual practice. That's what we are all the time. And knowing that, we can still come back into this world to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, engage with the world, do our work or not do the work. You can sit and meditate, you can work with your hands, you can be awake and you can dream and you can sleep. All the objective and subjective phenomena can go on. But you are that. And our problems at an existential level, at the second arrow level, they are, Advaita would claim, they're solved. Okay, let's take a couple of questions. Somebody wants to come up here? And yes. There's Sunny, I can see her coming. Yes. No, it's not, there's no sound. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
So everything was followed, but when you said to be aware of the contents of the mind,
Yes.
so the contents of the mind, if we include the unconscious and the conscious mind, I don't know how many bits of pieces of mind there are per second, but wouldn't that be like according to yoga school, to objectify the mind, that would be an advanced state. So you were positioning this as something that anybody could achieve.
Yeah.
But the objectification of the mind, can you clarify that, what you mean by
Okay, 2 points here. One, a very simple point, is that whether we know the subconscious mind or not, the point is to know ourselves as the knower. We know something. Right now, if I know that, I might not know the innermost depths of my mind, in the Jungian subconscious or whatever. I don't know. But I know something. If I just say ABCD, that much at least I know. And that's all that's being said. That the content of the mind is an object, you are the witness of that. The point is not to know these contents of the subconscious. The point is to know yourself as the knower of the mind, whatever is coming to the mind. So you are always the knower. Maybe you could know this contents of the subconscious through advanced yoga practices. Might be. And good for you. Even then, it wouldn't shift the position. That would still be the known, and you are the knower. The goal here, the point here is not to know the mind. The point is to know yourself as awareness and as the problem-free awareness. as the diamond. Why just the mind? Why something so subtle and advanced as yogic techniques to plumb the unconscious? This world itself, how little of it we see. Just right here. And there are things of galaxies and places far, far away which we do not see. And right here, there are tiny, tiny things. There are viruses and germs and there are atoms which we do not see. We cannot see them. Doesn't matter. Whatever we see shows that we are the seer. And we are this consciousness which witness. And that consciousness is problem-free. A little further, though, I would argue there's a distinction between the witness and the knower. That is a deeper question. The knower is the witness powering the instruments of knowledge. I, the consciousness, powering the mind and the eyes and maybe an electron microscope, and then I know tiny, tiny things. But I'm still the witness of that. Right now, I do not know those tiny things. I do not know those faraway things. They remain in the realm of the unknown. Unknown to what? This is a very simple but very subtle question. Unknown to what? Unknown to me. To me, in me, and indistinguishable from me. It's still part of my conscious experience that there is a tiny slice of this which is known to me. There's something behind me right now which is unknown to me. But the whole thing is part of my conscious experience, like in a dream. And this happened in Professor Garfield's class. Very interesting. Is it possible to say everything is in my consciousness and yet I don't know many things? Yes, it is. Everything is in your consciousness. The entire universe is in your consciousness right now. You say, that's crazy. This is enormous amounts of things that I do not know about the universe. All right, that still doesn't change the fact that it's in your consciousness. It's a universe in your consciousness, divided neatly into a tiny slice of the known and a vast area of the unknown. Exactly like, here's the clinching example, exactly like your dreams. In our dreams, when I'm walking around and talking to people and having a nice time, I also have the sense of inhabiting a much larger world which I do not know. And when I wake up, I realize that known bit of the dream world and the vast unknown bits of the dream world, the whole thing was in my mind. No? Yeah. And when I said this, Jay was delighted. He said, I'm going to use that. I said, all right, feel free. Yes. It is possible for the whole universe to be in you. Only a tiny bit of it is known. The rest of it is unknown. It's still in you. All right. I don't think we have time for all these questions. All right.
Yeah. Maharaj, if you could try to keep your responses brief so that we can get more questions in.
Okay. I can be cryptic. Sutra.
Okay. If I am the witness of my body, the external objects, thoughts, the mind, the good in mind, the bad in mind, I open the gap and know that my real self is not what is seen, even the bad in mind. So that can give liberty to someone, and he can say that that's fine if I'm not the good and the bad in the mind, and he keeps on continuing doing the wrong thing. So is it right, or what else should be done?
Does it give me a free, like a blank check to do whatever I want since, but if I'm thorough about it, if I'm really honest about it, in that case, even the wanting to do something bad, which I know to be bad, the knowing something to be bad and the desire to do something bad, they are all contents of the mind. This gap which would arise between me and the contents of the mind should free me from those impulses. Usually, why we do these things is we are overtaken by the mind. Our desires are so powerful, our fears and temptations, terrors and temptations are so powerful, they overpower our sense of morality. Nobody tells a lie and steals and murders or assaults people in order to be, in order to be a good person. I'm trying to practice morality and therefore I'm lying and stealing. No, no, no. It's usually, I know it's wrong, but I can't help it. So I know it's wrong and I can't help it. That's where I am being overtaken by the mind. This gap which opens up between me and the mind, this should actually help in gaining control over the lower instincts of the mind. You can think of the higher mind then becomes energized. Knowing, Upanishad says, knowing yourself, yes, Katha Upanishad, knowing yourself to be beyond the mind, to be the witness of the mind, to transcend the mind, take control of the mind. Take control of the mind and the senses. The best way to take control of the mind and the senses is to know that you are not the mind and the senses.
Namaste, Sunny. Namaste, Swami. I'm Sunny. We know, or I understand, you tell us, we hear what you're saying, I get it, I understand, but nothing is different. You know, obviously, and you're teaching us. Now, Vivekananda taught also, and yet, Ramakrishna said, when he knows who he is, he will leave the body. We are not leaving our body.
And thank God for that.
Yes. So does that mean we don't get it?
No, 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 not at all. If it meant that if you're enlightened and you leave the body, that would be a very big disincentive for enlightenment. You know, what happens when you get enlightened? You die. That's it. And you would see a continuous stream of 911 calls going out from here. Another one. What happened? Another one attained enlightenment. Is dead. He left the body. No. That would be disastrous. That's actually, this is discussed in Vedanta. In that case, for example, the consequence would be, first of all, you die if you get enlightenment. That's not very attractive. Second, in that case, those who are alive and teaching, they're not enlightened in that case. So you have a lineage of teachers who are ignorant, who are not enlightened, unenlightened teachers.